Former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort is going to jail. A judge revoked his bail after prosecutors accused Manafort of tampering with witnesses. He has pleaded not guilty. Manafort had been on house arrest as he awaited trial for bank fraud and other charges. Those allegations stem from his connections with pro-Russian groups. Jesse Weber is an attorney and host at the Law and Crime Network. Jesse, how significant would you say these charges are?
Very significant. It wasn't bad enough that he had to face money laundering charges related to him doing lobbying efforts for that pro-Russian Ukrainian political party, not even talking about the bank fraud and tax evasion charges. Let's add 2 more obstruction of justice charges that he now has to defend against. And in a courtroom, do you know how bad it is that it's not just obstruction of justice, but he did this while he was out on bail? That is even worse in the eyes of the court and in the eyes of a jury.
So they're considered superseding charges. What exactly does that mean?
Added on top of it. It's another indictment that's added on top of the current investigation. Because what he is alleged to have done here is to try to contact 2 PR consultants that he had worked with or allegedly worked with to try to promote this Ukrainian group. And it was tied to that investigation, which he's ultimately charged with. So he is basically obstruction of justice, witness tampering in the very investigation that he is underway. This has really, it's not related, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, it's not directly related to the Mueller probe.
So the judge's decision to revoke Manafort's bail, do you think that in any way it impacts or affects the upcoming trial?
Well, let's take a step back. What she said was this: I'm not saying whether he's guilty of this. I'm saying we have probable cause. And what he demonstrated was a betrayal of the justice system. He is a flight risk, and not only that, that's why they took away his passports, but he is a danger to society. Look what happened. I can't take his cell phone away. He's not a child. The only logical thing I can do is send him to jail. He basically violated the parameters of his bail. And that is what, and again, in an upcoming trial, prosecutors are definitely going to pick on that point, that he violated this. We can't trust him. We can't trust him. So it's even worse that this happened while he was on house arrest.
President Trump said today that tried to put some distance between him and Manafort and said that Manafort had nothing to do with his campaign, even though we all know that he did work on the campaign for months. Why put distance between him and Manafort now when we all know it's not true?
Timing of what happened today. It makes sense. Try to distance yourself as much as possible. Anytime anybody hears Manafort, Russia, Mueller, Trump, they put it all together. Now, what this ultimately means is we can clearly see that Mr. Manafort has a lot of contacts with Russia and Ukraine. The question becomes, did he call upon those contacts while he was working as Trump's campaign manager to influence the 2016 election? That is the bottom line. And ultimately, Trump did the right thing by trying to create as much distance as possible. I don't know if it'll work.
Okay, you don't know if it'll work. But what does this mean for the special counsel? Anything?
It means that he's definitely, look, everybody thinks that Manafort is going to turn and testify against Trump. That is a possibility, especially when we see Gates has already pled guilty. These are 2 new charges up against Mr. Manafort. He has a lot to explain. And he's not looking as innocent as he did a week ago. And it's my guess, as good as any, what this ultimately means, because he has information that we don't know about. He has information as being President Trump's campaign manager. It could be something, it could be nothing, but definitely Mueller and his team are very happy with the results from today.
Jesse, what are you watching for in the coming weeks?
Oh, I want to see what Manafort will do. I think we talked about a little bit. He's now in jail. So now he is isolated. In fact, when he went in to jail, they took away his belt. They took away his tie. So he couldn't be a risk for suicide. It's something we have to think about. But now I am very curious to see what Mueller and his team does with respect to Mr. Manafort. Don't be surprised if we have an update in the next couple of weeks regarding him. His trial is set, I believe, for September. That's a long way off, but also don't be surprised if we see something a lot sooner, including a plea deal.
Jesse Weber, thank you very much for joining us, Jesse.
Thank you.